Hello and welcome to the Tamp Podcast. This is a podcast series where I will be speaking to an array of customers and guests of Tamp Coffee, sitting here discussing all sorts of topics from music and film to business to physical and mental health, sports, and much, much more. So guys, stay tuned and please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.
You know, since I can really remember, I've always loved food. It's always been a huge part of my life, mainly due to my parents and the way I was brought up around the table and around being surrounded by good food. At 21, I was just a couple of years out of school. I moved to New York. The last place I went to was Alain Ducasse's new restaurant. It was a 2 or 3 day trial. They made me cook dishes for the chef to try while everyone's watching you.
I thought they were going to have you peeling potatoes or something.
You'd think normally, right? I think it's more the emotional toll, the pressure you put on yourself, being told you're maybe not good, even if it's unnecessary. That can become taxing, but it also makes you better at what you're doing. When the opportunity for the restaurant at Cafe Royal came up, I was just super hungry, super ready for it.
You were awarded 2 Michelin stars within 6 months.
Yeah.
That's kind of unheard of.
As long as you're really strong at the top and the values are there, you're gonna keep going, and the ones that believe in your vision and believe in what you're preaching, they'll stay. And the ones that it's not their cup of tea will move on, and hopefully you replace it with people that do believe the vision.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tamp Podcast. Today's guest is a childhood friend of mine. He is a chef who has redefined modern French cuisine and achieved what many thought impossible by earning 2 Michelin stars for his very first restaurant within 6 months of opening. Born in London, shaped by an upbringing split between the UK and California, he has trained under legends like Alain Ducasse, Hélène Darroze, and has built a reputation for precision, passion, and plates that tell a story. From his celebrated dining room at Hotel Cafe Royal in London to his brand new venture at Lord Jim's in Bangkok, his work blends a classical technique with modern, approachable elegance that keeps guests coming back and back again. We're going to talk about his early influences, the reality of running a Michelin-starred kitchen, and what's next for one of dining's most exciting voices. Alex Dilling, welcome to the Tamp Podcast.
Thank you. Quite an introduction.
Was it accurate?
Appreciate it. It was very good. Very good. Thank you.
There's a little bit of ChatGPT in there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Some sounds familiar. Yeah.
You know what? Could you have imagined this scenario right here 25
I
years
was thinking
ago?
about that today on the way over, like how far we've come in life and how much things change and how paths go in different directions. And remembering when we lived on the same block and we're hanging out, just barbecuing, drinking a few beers, and
It's crazy, isn't
sitting here in your shop. No, I'm so proud and so happy to be here.
Oh man, it's crazy. It really is
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
to think.
amazing. It's special.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is, isn't it? I'm so happy to have you here. Really happy to see where you are, what you're achieving. And in many ways, like, we're nowhere near done yet. We're just starting,
Yeah.
you know?
Agree.
I went to your restaurant the other day and I realized I really missed a trick. So, when they come over, when you first sit down and say, have you got any allergies? I was this close to saying, yes, butter.
We would have asked you to leave very kindly, and yeah.
I was like, how is he going to do me a 7-course meal with no
Yeah.
butter? That would have fucked it.
That would
big
be
time.
a challenge. We discourage the dairy dislikers. It's obviously quite predominant in our cuisine. Yeah.
Well, in French cuisine, I mean, it's one of the bases of it, isn't it?
It is, but I mean that's changing. People more and more are going to a lighter style of food, and as well the way I like to eat as well. I mean, I personally don't want to eat as much dairy and butter and cream as I used to. So, but there is still a good amount of it.
Well, I was just at the GP today getting my bloods done, and they're saying cholesterol, sugar, all of this. And
Yeah.
Shit, we're at that age, aren't we?
What's good for that is not going to the GP.
I didn't think about it that
Yeah.
way, but you're right. Your restaurant, it was one of the most incredible gastronomic experiences I've had. I've never eaten at a 2-star establishment before, and I think I've only eaten at a 1-star either once or twice. I was trying to remember the name of the one I told you earlier, and I can't remember, but there's one I went with your family. It was an Italian in Knightsbridge, and I remember having the bistecca fiorentina with your dad. It was the first time I ever had a bistecca fiorentina in the UK. But that was amazing. Okay, so let's go around to the questions. First thing I want to ask you, who was Alex Dilling before becoming a chef?
God, I mean, that seems like such a long time ago, but Since I can really remember, I've always loved food, and it's always been a huge part of my life, mainly due to my parents and the way I was brought up around the table and around being surrounded by good food. But there was a time, just before that, where I had this brief moment where I thought I was going to be a rock star, and I was very into punk music. I was into skateboarding, doing things that come along with skateboarding,
Name
and
of the band? I've forgotten.
I was in a couple. I mean, Yellow Snow.
Yellow Snow, that's the
Style.
one.
And, and I thought like, okay, I'm going to be this guitar player in a punk band and that's going to be my career. And I think luckily I fell in love with food because, being a musician is an amazing career path. But I think unfortunately to be a successful musician is really tricky. And it's a very small percentage of people who can make a life out of doing that. But yeah, I guess before being a chef, I was a kid who liked music, skateboarding, and hanging out. Yeah.
Do you think that shaped you as to who you are today? Is that still part of you?
I don't think it did in a way because it's quite an extreme difference. Like the way I was then was really just very easy breezy, skateboard, hang out, not really a worry in the world. And then becoming a chef, a chef who you take your career seriously, it's the polar opposite. It's about rigor. It's about discipline. It's about being focused. So it's weird in a way that it didn't shape me for that, but that I had such a 180 in the way I had to behave and the way I had to do things. Yeah.
I remember very clearly mornings or afternoons after parties at yours, sitting on the sofa, watching marathons of Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
We would watch episode after episode, every single one. What is your first recollection? It could be a scene or it could be a meal, but what is your first recollection of food in your life?
I don't know if there's one specific moment about food. I think it's the feeling of pleasure that I get from it is something that I just remember growing up and looking forward to eating. And I think any chef has to, first of all, be someone that's just so passionate about eating. And I think just growing up in that environment where it was really, my mom, she was an amazing cook. And growing up in that environment where you're excited about what's going to be on the table for dinner, you're excited about your next meal. So even pre me cooking, I had that huge love of food. And I remember all through my childhood just being insanely excited to eat something, put something in my mouth. I was probably just a greedy kid who was hungry, but yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think your mum played a massive role in that.
Huge part in it.
Because she'd start preparing Sunday lunch at like 7, 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen anyone at domestic level cook like your mum.
No, and just still, like when I look back on things she did them almost in a professional way, taking a chicken out of the fridge early in the morning so it can come up to room temperature, and little things that most people's moms weren't doing that are very, relevant in the way I've learned to cook. And she knew what she was doing. She was definitely a step ahead of a home cook. I mean, still is. So I learned a lot on that. And I think more and more as I go on in my career, I lean onto those things that I saw, those home cooking things, they're so important. She was a huge factor.
And her knowledge of dishes, because I'm never going to forget, even though I've lived in Brazil as an adult, I had my first feijoada ever at your house. I didn't know what it was. Your mum gave me my first feijoada.
Yeah.
So her knowledge of international food as well.
It's incredible. But I mean, that's, she's like I am now, someone who's just so passionate food. If she's not cooking, she's probably reading a food and travel magazine or watching an Anthony Bourdain show or something. And when you have that passion, I mean, not just food, for anything, you kind of surround yourself with things that are related to that. So you pick up all this beautiful knowledge from around the world. And
there's one particular Anthony Bourdain episode I want to bring up. I'm not sure if you remember it. I watched it with you, and he went to El Bulli.
Yeah.
And he had, I can't remember how many taste of course meal it was, 10 dishes, whatever.
Probably 40 or something.
Right. And then he wanted to smoke and he wasn't allowed to go out and smoke. And one of the Adria brothers made him a dish with tobacco or cigar.
That was actually the French Laundry episode.
Was that the French Laundry?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's funny because we used to watch these shows back then, but I still watch them now. And it's often like if I can't sleep, I'll put on an Anthony Bourdain episode on my iPad. And there's something, maybe because it's watching it when I was younger, but I find
it's great. It's just so nice.
The way he speaks, and it's not just food. It's also about people and about culture and about traveling. And it's something really lovely about watching him speak about what he loved. Yeah.
Now, going back to the episode that I was thinking, even though I got the restaurant wrong, El Bulli was in one of the episodes. You're about to do a collaboration with Albert Adria.
I am.
I mean,
I can't believe it.
This is my point.
Yeah.
Seriously, we were on your sofa watching this stuff on TV, hungover, and here you are collaborating with Albert Adria.
Yeah, I can't, there's been a few moments, especially over the last couple of years, where I like pinch myself and I have to take a moment and just think, what the fuck, like Alain Ducasse came to eat in the restaurant we have now and came and enjoyed his meal. And
what was his feedback?
Yeah, he said it was great, whether that was true or not, but it was still just so special. And I couldn't believe he was there. And he was, and since then he's invited me to be on little TV bits with him. And, it's, you can't believe at one point I was just a cook in his kitchen. And then, Albert Adria getting to cook with him is just unbelievable. He's like, before our dinner, fly out to Barcelona, eat in my restaurant. And, now we're on WhatsApp together. And it's just like, I'm like, what the fuck's happening? It all seems because you're busy and you go through the motions, but then it's important and it's special when you stop and you say, okay, I'm WhatsApping a guy that for me has always been like a god, and I'm going to share a kitchen with him for 2 days. It's unbelievable, honestly. It's so unbelievable. I don't take it in stride. Like, it's really special. It's special for the team. And no, I feel very lucky. Yeah.
You really deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. Just before we move into the chef career, your upbringing between California and the UK, did that shape you in any way?
Again, I don't really think so. Being half American, half English, like, I don't think it shaped who I am as a chef. I'm very much the romantic in love with French cuisine. So, I never tried to cook American food or anything like that. It opened my eyes to a different style of food for sure. And I have kind of played on some dishes. One of my kind of known dishes, a version of the clam chowder, which is obviously from growing up in San Francisco. But I mean, I think all travel and being in different environments helps you in some way, probably in any sort of career, right? But I don't think being half American influenced me that much.
And at what point did you realize that you wanted to be a chef?
I think I was probably around 15 or 16. I think when the dream of being a rock star kind of seems smaller and smaller. And, you question, okay, I wonder what my career path's going to be. And just cooking more with my mom and realizing how much I loved it and how much joy I found in that just kind of clicked. And, I asked my parents if I could go to culinary school. They said, try something else for a year. I think it was just on the cusp of being a good career path. So I went to study psychology for a year, which it didn't work out. And then they were like, then they were like, kind of, okay, go to culinary school and do the thing you want to do.
It was Westminster
Kingsway.
Yeah.
And I went and I just loved it. And, it's been an amazing journey for me, and it's never fizzled out. Like, I love it more and more every day. And, the way I view food and everything changes year by year as you get older and stuff. But I've never loved what I'm doing less. It's always grown.
Isn't it interesting? I find the same with me. Like, there are certain aspects of this shop that I might get exhausted by or tired of, but I never get tired of the coffee itself. I always want to find out what new varietals there are, what new processing techniques there are. I want to try beans from different countries. It's never fizzled out either.
Yeah, and there's always something more to learn and to grow. And I think when there's little moments where you're like, oh, I'm a little bit bored of this, is when you have to, okay, put yourself in question, challenge yourself to do, to move left or right and find things that still stimulate you, right?
Can you talk me through your first kind of 1 or 2 or 3 years as a professional chef out of college? What was that like?
I cooked around a little bit in London, but I'd say really where it kicked off for me is at 21, I was just a couple of years out of school. I moved to New York. And when I got to New York, I didn't really know where I was going to work. So I went to a few different restaurants. I was like, okay, I was in my head, like, I want to go for it. So I went to like some of the 2 and 3 star Michelin restaurants, probably around 5 or 6, kind of knocking on the door. Can I spend a few days here, see if I get a job? And I did that. And like the last place I went to was Alain Ducasse's new restaurant at the St. Regis Hotel in New York. And I think it was a 2 or 3 day trial. It was the scariest shit in my life. I was completely not ready for that position. And they made me cook dishes for the chef to try while everyone's watching you. They did a written test as well about temperatures and the seasons of truffles.
This is on a trial.
On a trial.
I thought they were going to have you peeling potatoes or something.
You'd think normally, right? And they just kind of feel if you have a good attitude. No, because I think as well that kitchen was something I hadn't seen before, is where they had the hierarchy where it was like the head chef, the sous chef. But below that, normally there's commis, chef de partie, everything. But in that kitchen, everyone was called a tournant. So below the sous chef, all the chefs had to be of a certain level that they could do every section. I definitely wasn't at that level yet, but I got the job, and it was kind of like make it happen, sink or swim. And there was some very tough days at the beginning. Going home very emotional and sad. That not sad, but you're a bit damaged. You get berated quite a lot, and as you should do. It's a very serious restaurant.
People know this is a tough industry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's just that it is something that's very known. And I forget the name of the book that Anthony Bourdain wrote, and I don't want to keep name dropping him, but this industry is known for being exhausting. And as a result, there is a lot of drug use because there's no other way to get through it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many hours a week were you working?
Well, there we did a lot at the beginning, but it was also at that time there was a union, so they would kind of like stop you at one point because you couldn't be paid for more hours than you were meant to be doing. But we would go into work a lot of time and not clock in, and but I would say it's not the hours. If you're 21 years old or 30 years old, you can work a lot of hours. I think it's more the emotional toll, the pressure you put on yourself, being told you're maybe not good, even if it's unnecessary. That can become taxing, but it also makes you better at what you're doing.
Is that, I mean, we've all seen the TV chefs, Gordon Ramsay and all of that belittling, and we've all heard the stories of Marky Pierre White. Is that belittling? Is it a necessary evil in the kitchen? Is it a technique that works? Does it work for some?
I know
and
it
not
happens
others?
in some kitchens. When I was working at Ducasse, I wouldn't say it was belittling. It was more being really firm, which I'm so thankful for in the end, because it gave me discipline and rigor that I needed to go on to do what I'm doing now. But it is a hard environment. It's so much work to do by a certain amount of people. The guests are paying a fortune just to have dinner. So it has to be fucking perfect, right? So if you're not doing things perfectly, you're going to hear about it. And there's a short amount of time to fix that. And if you don't do it right, the person above you is going to get shit from the person above them. So it's all for a reason. And it was an amazing experience for me. But it was tough, yeah.
And so I'm guessing that time under Alain Ducasse shaped your understanding of fine dining.
100%. And I still look back on that time. That shaped me completely who I am as a chef, and also the kind of direction I've gone in with loving French cuisine. I learned there about, the quality of products, treating product properly, and the rigor of a kitchen. I mean, those were probably the most important years of my career.
And then after that, you also went to work for Hélène Darroze?
Yeah, so after Ducasse, I went for probably like 2 years at this caviar house. It was just around the corner on the same block, which was cool. I got for the first time to kind of be creative and put my own things on the menu and do all of that, which was fun. And it's during that time I got the call to take over as head chef at the Connaught for Hélène Darroze. So at that time I was only 28 years old. So another very scary moment. But I think in this job, you have to just go for these things. There's a few moments in my career where it's been like, kind of fuck it. Like, you're going to take the easy path, or you're going to challenge yourself, take a risk and go for it. And I've been really fortunate that the risks have always panned out. Because I was happy in New York. I was comfortable. I was making enough money to enjoy my life. But that was a huge opportunity. I thought there was a big chance I wouldn't succeed at it because, I was 28 years old, taking over a restaurant in the Connaught with 2 Michelin stars, probably 50 staff, most of them older than me, moving across the world. But it was a great opportunity nonetheless, so I went for it. And yeah, another very hard experience for my career.
And how did the staff there react to you? Because I'm guessing some of them must have been there quite a long time as well.
Some of them were there a long time. It was a weird one because I went into that, I think because I was scared. I was too young. No, I wasn't too young, but I was young for a position like that. I went in there like guns blazing. I was screaming my head off all the time, like acting like a, jacked up like Rottweiler, working stupid hours, like more than I needed to. But I was like determined to succeed. It wasn't like going great at the beginning between me and Helen. I mean, I don't think she 100% was convinced on me for that position, but her right hand at the time I'd work with, and he vouched for me kind of. But yeah, it was 6 months of just like a lot of pressure on myself. I was putting a lot of pressure on the team, but I didn't give up. And day by day, it got easier and better, and ended up staying there almost 5 years and traveling the world with Helen and doing amazing things. Yeah.
And now I'm going to ask you about what came after that, which is, I think, September 22. Was that when you opened?
The greenhouse?
No, not the greenhouse. Your
ours, yeah, something like that.
September 22?
Yeah.
What was going through your mind the day you had your first opening with your name?
I mean, I was really like hungry for it at that point. So after Helen, I'd left there to do the greenhouse, which was an amazing project. And we kept 2 stars there for a couple of years and closed during COVID. And I felt like that was a story that wasn't finished for me. So when the opportunity for the restaurant at Cafe Royal came up, I was just super hungry, super ready for it. It wasn't an opening that came without its challenges. Like we started the first 2 weeks, I think we were open, cooking from the hotel's breakfast kitchen. So
Wow.
yeah, it was like a tough opening.
Is that because you had to redesign and rebuild the whole kitchen?
Yeah, basically. And our stove was coming from Italy and it wasn't ready and it didn't arrive on time, but we'd already taken bookings and we needed to start getting money into the business. But we made it happen. And, I think it made the opening team more resilient because of its challenges. And yeah, we got open and we're still open today. And yeah.
Well, not only are you still open, you were awarded 2 Michelin stars within 6 months. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's kind of unheard of.
Yeah, it was really crazy because I thought as well, like it was so quick and we got invited to the Michelin Awards. So I thought, okay, we're definitely getting a star, or it'd just be very cruel of them.
Yeah, it'd be a bit
just
unfair.
To watch everyone else get their stars. So I thought,
Yeah.
we must be getting a star, which is great, in 6 months. Even though we were coming from a 2-star, still 6 months time. And then we were at the awards. It was me, Victoria, the owner, and my head chef, Pierre, has been with me for, I think, 11 years now. And they went through the whole list of 1 stars and they didn't say our name. And it was that moment I was like grabbing Pierre's leg. I was like, no fucking way.
We're getting 2.
And the first name they called out for 2 stars was us. And yeah, just a crazy, you don't know how to handle these kind of emotions when they happen. It was insane. And it was such a good moment to, 6 months open, the 6 months pre-opening, like how taxing that is emotionally and everything. For that recognition to come in for the team, for the business, it's amazing.
And I can't help but think for your parents, it must have been a big deal.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
I mean, to see that achievement.
Yeah, they're always so proud no matter what. If they see me on a TV show or something, it's lovely. I think they send it to their friends and stuff.
That's my son.
Yeah,
record.
Which is adorable. So yeah, no, it's cool.
Now tell me, is it harder to earn or keep a Michelin star?
It's a hard one because I think both. I mean, yeah, it's hard to get them. There's a certain level of focus, commitment, money. There's so many factors involved, vision. And then keeping them, if you got them for doing one thing and working in a certain way and, putting your vision on a plate and into an experience, if you just keep doing that, normally you should keep them. I think where it gets really tricky is maybe getting from like the level of 2 to 3. I've never done that, so I don't know what it involves, but
that's the goal, right?
It's the goal one day. I would love to do that in my lifetime, but if it happens, that would be amazing and I would be so happy. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. And more and more realize how proud you can be of so many things in our job. We opened a restaurant overseas recently, and it's not as fine dining as what we do in London, but I'm so proud of that we've opened another restaurant, and there's two places that I can be so proud of. So there's other things besides just those accolades that you can be equally as proud of.
Do you understand chefs who in the past have wanted to hand them back? Do you understand why people might?
I can understand that. There is a certain pressure. And I think especially if you get to the level of 3 stars, the pressures that come with that, the money involved as well, like, okay, we need to reinvest all the time to make sure everything is perfect. I can imagine for some businesses that's tough. And then also chefs change what they want to do. At one point, a chef might want to cook food a little more simple and a little more what he wants to eat at that moment. So I can see for a number of reasons, the pressures of that might become less appealing as you get older.
And how do you, you say that in order to, first get and then maintain a style, you got to keep it up. How do you keep your team motivated? Surely, as you said, when you were in New York, there were days you were feeling emotional, tired, exhausted. How do you motivate your team if they're going through those days and they've got to perform time and time again every single day? It's got to be tough.
It's super tough, but I think the key, like with any business, is, you have to be strong at the top, and I'm really fortunate that my head chef's been with me 11 years through 3 restaurants now. We have amazing sous chefs. I think the bottom end of your team, they will shift around in any business, but as long as you're really strong at the top and the values are there, you're gonna keep going, and the ones that believe in your vision and believe in what you're preaching, they'll stay. And the ones that it's not their cup of tea will move on. And hopefully you replace it with people that do believe the vision. But being really strong at the top, I think, is so important. I'm not there all the time anymore. It's impossible. But with our management team, we share the same vision and the same ethos and things. And that kind of keeps it moving along. So.
Well, when I went there, the whole team was outstanding. They were all excellent.
Cool. I'm glad to hear.
How would you describe your style of cooking to someone who's never eaten your food?
It's so hard to put labels on things, but we have to all the time, right? But we cook a modern version of French cuisine. We use little influences from other cuisines? Yes. If I have to label, I'll say it's modern French cuisine. But really, it's just good ingredients that I think we cook as good as we can to highlight them and to make them a little bit special. I think it's part of our job as well to make it complicated enough that you couldn't do it at home. But ultimately, it just needs to be delicious food that puts a smile on your face when you see it. But we lean heavily into the kind of French repertoire to do that.
I think it's more than just delicious that puts a smile on your face. At least for someone like me, it's a memory. It's a memory that...
At that level, I think it should be. We hope for that... for most people when they come and have that experience, you're 3 hours of your time and your money. We hope that it's a great positive memory for people. Yeah.
You're well known for your work with caviar. What's the story behind that?
Yes, I have had interviews where people are like, oh, you're a caviar chef. I like caviar. I don't use it on every dish. We always start our menu with caviar. I think it feels very celebratory. So I think it's a nice thing to do. And also I was the chef of a caviar house in New York for 2 years. So that definitely did kind of instigate my love of the product. But I think it's a delicious ingredient that evokes celebration, and it's a great way to start a meal with a glass of champagne. So
we were joking earlier. I said before the mics were recording, I wanted to pretend that I was allergic to butter when I arrived. Now, obviously you can't cook French food without butter. However, I'm sure there are times you do need to adapt your menu for certain allergens or dietary needs, right? How do you do that last minute?
Oh, it's so difficult. We had this kind of like dream when we opened the restaurant, like we're not going to accommodate some things that are just very difficult for us, like no dairy and stuff like that. But the reality is it's a business. And if someone's going to come and spend their money and they don't eat this, this, and this, we're going to do it because we need the business to operate, stay open.
But that's forcing you to be like lightning fast creative.
Well, we have stuff ready. Like we know on any given night, a vegetarian will easily pop up. We know there's going to be certain allergies. It's so commonplace now that we expect it. It's not really a surprise. We ask the guests when they book, but even regardless, like we know there's going to be surprise vegetarians, surprise low dairy, surprise all of this. So like any restaurant in London, we're kind of ready.
I actually talking about changing your menus, and I read this when it popped up on the BBC News website the other day. Was it in Paris? I think it was a vegan Michelin-starred restaurant, which
Most likely that's because the business levels need to be improved on, and serving meat will help, and people will drink better wine if it's with a beautiful roasted duck than without, right?
and exactly at the end of the day, it's about bottom line, right? No matter what our ideals are in terms of what we want to serve.
100%. Like, it's so fun and beautiful and romantic having a restaurant and all of that. But until the point that you can't pay your staff, then the romance goes out the window very quickly, right?
I get it all the time. People are like,
Yeah.
oh, I wish I had a coffee shop like yours.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, do you?
It sounds cool. Like you're listening to reggae music, drinking coffee all
Yeah.
day. But they don't see like when doors are closed and you're stressed out about all the overheads and everything. Yeah,
Everything's going up. Things only go up, and it's not just rent and business rates. It's ingredients, it's electrics, it's taxes, it's absolutely everything. We put we have to do gradual price increases here, but we put 10p on our coffee last week, and we put 10p earlier this year. And we've already got people going onto Google leaving us bad reviews for putting 20p on the price of a coffee. And I'm like, well, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to shut down? So those are the difficult realities of what we're doing. You eventually will have to put your prices up according to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think I want to take this opportunity for the general public to kind of understand that we're doing what we can here.
It's not in any of our, I think, as hospitality business, it's not in our interest to try and take advantage of the guests. It's the opposite. We work very hard all day to try and give them the best experience we can for the best price, so they leave with the best feeling when they pay the bill. I don't think there's any restaurants that are really like capitalizing that much on their guests and laughing as they walk out the door. It's just not the reality.
There's one that I
it's a
can
very
think
tight
of.
line.
There's one that I can think of that I won't name, and they've just completely vanished. Something to do with sprinkling a bit of salt. Let's just say that.
Okay.
You know what I'm referring to?
No, I don't. You can tell me after.
I won't name drop it now. But it was something that kind of took off. They were selling steaks for ridiculous prices.
Oh, yeah,
gold
of course.
leaf and all of this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? And like, we're talking thousands and thousands for a steak. Where are they now?
Yeah. No, I don't suppose that business will be around for much longer.
I think they're already gone.
But that as well, it's a kind of fad, kind of hype place, right? I mean, I don't think there was any personal connection for people to that place. It was, let's go, let's put it on Instagram. I think a business like this, people, or what we do, they have a personal connection to it. They know you, they know who they're coming to see. They're making beautiful memories there. Having a very expensive steak that's covered in gold leaf to show off your wealth, I don't think you have an emotional connection to that. Whereas this is probably a very special place for a lot of people, as I hope our restaurant is also,
Well, I think once you're starting to search out the name of a chef who either owns or leads the restaurant, you've already got a different purpose. You're going there for what that chef has learned, which is very different to sprinkling a bit of gold leaf on a steak.
For sure, yeah.
When you're at home cooking just for yourself, what's on the table?
Something very simple. I mean, I love a roast chicken, a good baguette with some good cheese. I love sausage and mash. I mean, simple things. We
sound like pub food, basically.
Yeah, I love pub food. I love being in a pub to eat. I love a cold beer. But simple things, the food, as you know, that we do in the restaurant, and what I like to cook in that environment is very technical. It's very labor intensive. Maybe because of that, I gravitate towards things really simple. But also I love that style of food. I think professionally, I like to cook these very artistic things that I've really thought about a lot. But outside of work, I'd probably go to a fine dining restaurant once every few months, because I'm interested in what my peers are doing and what other people are doing. But when I really want to nourish my soul, it's very simple food,
Have you got a favorite local pub we can name drop? Someone you want to support, give some support to?
I mean, I used to love the Cow. I would go there a lot.
The one on Westbourne Grove?
Yeah, and I think their food is very good too. I mean, they do an amazing bangers and mash. And what I see happening with pubs, which is great, is they're taking their food more seriously now. I see a lot of good young chefs going into pubs, taking over the menu, keeping it as a pub, but like taking the food seriously and buying good ingredients. So this is like the trend that's happening that I'm so happy about.
I think you've got to now. I think if you're a pub and you're not serving good food, you won't last.
But 90% of pubs serve such shit food. And I see it all the time. Our restaurants in Soho, if we go for a beer at a bar in Soho, you see all these tourists there eating fish and chips, thinking they're having British food. And it's like, that's probably come out of a microwave or whatever. And it's just such a shame. But I think there is a trend happening of pubs taking food seriously again, which is great.
I think it is. And I think the fact that people are drinking less is also forcing them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Because the younger generation are not drinking like we used to drink.
That's for sure. Yeah. Not many people. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, the younger generations of today they're far more healthy.
A lot more healthy. I mean, there's also all these things now that are cutting people's appetites, people not drinking. No, it's a tough market. I think in a way it's probably good for restaurants. It's forcing you to offer really good value to guests and to make sure you're doing something amazing. But no, it's a very challenging market.
Can you tell me about Lord Jim's in Bangkok?
Yeah, so I originally went to Bangkok to Mandarin Oriental to do a pop-up. Alon Rue had a restaurant there at the time. We did a 4-hands dinner and it was great. He was moving on from the hotel and another chef, famous 3-star Michelin chef, was going into that space. And there was kind of like a empty period for that restaurant. It's a very iconic restaurant in Bangkok called Le Normandie. And they asked if I'd do like a 6-month pop-up there, which we did. And it was really great. And we got a Michelin star for it. And it was an amazing experience.
So you got a Michelin star for a pop-up?
Yeah, I had one before, but then they invited us during the pop-up and awarded us with a star for it. So yeah, it was amazing. And for those who don't know, Mandarin Oriental, the one in Bangkok, is kind of their flagship property. And it's just one of the most beautiful hotels in the world. And they've got a lot of restaurants in it and they're all fantastic. And when the pop-up finished, they asked us if we wanted to continue working with them and take over a different space and do something casual. Which of course that was a big yes from our side. They're amazing people to work with. And also for me, it was kind of the first time I'd get to do something more casual, which I've been desperate to do for years. So we opened like 3 months ago, I want to say, and it's all around cooking over fire. There's these big grills already in the kitchen, sharing, just good food. The people in Thailand love to share already, so that really fits in with it. And still got a kind of French identity. I'm not trying to cook Thai food. I would never do that. I know I love eating it, but I don't know how to cook it to save my life. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience so far. It's going well. One of our sous chefs from London's out there, George, doing an amazing job. And
there seems to be a thing happening with Michelin-starred chefs turning their hand to simple food and doing a really good job out of it. I forget the name of the chef behind Herd Burger. Do you know Herd Burger? They're kind of
oh yeah,
who's a Michelin-starred chef now opened a burger joint.
Yeah, I want to go try. They look good. Yeah,
and I'm like, well, that's just amazing.
But yeah, it's a great concept. You have these chefs with Michelin stars or amazing pedigree who've spent their careers, finding the best producers, how to cook things perfectly, and the chefs turn all that attention into making a delicious burger. It's got to be good, right?
I think it's great.
Yeah, no, it's very cool.
Because what it does for someone like me, it makes it more accessible.
Yeah.
To be able to access whoever this chef is, all of their experience, suddenly makes it more affordable.
Yeah.
And I think that's great, not only for us, the customer, but it's also good for the business owner. Because I'm sure one thing you'll know is the difficulty in making margins with bricks and mortar. If you are able to serve more numbers in terms of quantity of produce, you're going to help yourself.
Yeah.
And one thing, for example, at your restaurant where you are now here in London, you're very limited for space. And I'm sure that having a business model potentially around street food with a lower price point could potentially be better for margins, couldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the volume game is the way to go. It's just with fine dining, it just doesn't work for that, right? Doing huge volume, there's so much detail and things that go into it. But no, to come back on the Michelin chefs doing these casual things, I'm super into it. And, a lot of them now have their hands on pub menus and things like that.
I
And
think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And you're getting better ingredients because of it. And yeah,
Talking about it, have you been to the Hand in Flowers in Marlow?
I haven't.
I went there. I can't remember what it was. I had one of the dishes. I think it was sheep's brains.
I went to his other one, the Coach, and I had an incredible meal, like an incredible meal. I think they've got a Michelin star also. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Outside of cooking, what do you do to recharge? Downtime?
I mean, I still cook when I'm not working, which I love and I find very relaxing. When you're cooking at home, I mean, you probably ask any chef, they adore cooking at home. It's, you've got a glass of wine, music on, and it's very different. There's no stress, no pressure. You're just cooking for your family or friends. So it kind of brings you back to what you fell in love with to begin with. So cooking is definitely something, if I'm off, I'm doing. I have a baby as well, so that keeps me incredibly busy. And, trying to get sleep. And I travel a lot, for my work. If I'm not going to Thailand to look at that restaurant, I do a lot of events around the world, which I'm very fortunate for because traveling's become something I love more than anything, personally and professionally. Maybe go to a different country each month almost at times. So it's amazing for me that I get to do a lot of that, and in turn I get to eat delicious things all over the world. So
talking about traveling and food, and I'm going to name drop him once again, just because of the legend he was, is Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
I think since his departure, there has been a void in television for someone doing what he does. There's loads of cooking on TV, right? Loads. But there is no one who has done that travel.
Yeah, but I think people have tried a little bit,
and no
one will get it. What he did was just so brilliant, and the way it was so honest. And I don't think if anyone tries to recreate that, it'll just seem like a bad imitation, right?
The reason I'm saying it, I reckon you can throw that.
Yeah, sign me up. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm being serious. You mentioned earlier fatherhood. Congratulations. I know I've said that already. How's that going, being a daddy?
It's cool. I mean, it's tough in our job. We work a lot and you want to be a very present father. And that's tricky, obviously, because it's not a job you can do from home. But, the waking up early thing works for me. I cook him breakfast every day, which is kind of our time together.
What do you cook for breakfast? I'm curious.
I make a lot of omelets.
Omelet, yeah.
He seems to like them.
Ours loves omelet as well.
And I try to sneak like some cheese and ham in there sometimes.
I put cheese in there.
He'll spit it out or he'll like love it. I know I can't keep track of it.
I think she'll have the ham and the cheese.
Yeah,
she'll have
which is good. It's get him to try things. But, I like that moment. And I think it's that connection with food as well is important to me, that, feeding him things.
What does fatherhood mean to you?
Oh, it's a big question. I just want to be a good dad, right? Like, I think it's important in my job is to take care of him and hopefully give him good advice from all the experiences I've had of good things, bad things, mistakes, and try to set him up to be a successful, happy person in the world. And I also want to be his best friend at some point. So if I can manage those things, I'll feel successful in that.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Has fatherhood changed your perspective to work or life in any way?
Yeah, 100%. I used to feel very maybe guilty to leave early and things like that. And I still do to a certain extent. You want to be running with your team the whole time and working as many hours with them. There was times in my career where I need to work more than everyone. But very quickly you understand, like, that does not fucking matter. What matters, I'm there for my child. And that's needs to be the most important thing in the world. And yeah, and also when you see their cute little faces, you just forget about everything, right?
It's crazy. Like, before becoming a father, there is no way I could describe the emotion of seeing your own child.
Yeah.
There's no way to put that into words. I know exactly what you're saying right now. When you see the little face, you're like, I know exactly what you mean. I get the same.
Or when you see them cry, it's like nothing could break your heart more in the world. So no, yeah.
That's also true.
No, I think I feel very, very lucky that I'm getting to experience it. Yeah.
Going back to the fine dining industry, what do you see if any. Do you see any trends or shifts in the future of fine dining?
I think there's always going to be a place for fine dining. What I think is important is to try and separate yourself a little bit from what everyone else is doing. And I think that's become a little bit tricky because of social media and everything that, people naturally see what other people are doing and are inspired by it. And I think can become a bit dangerous because people do, let's say copy, but because of the influence that they see things on social media and stuff, it all can become a little bit samey, right? So, I think I don't think this will be the last fine dining thing I do, but I think the next fine dining thing I do will look very different. It'll be a lot more grown up and personal in a way. I don't know exactly what it'll be yet, but I know it'll be different.
It's forming inside you.
It's forming inside me. And I think as much as I'm excited to do casual things and different things, I know that in me in my career, I'm going to do another big fine dining at one point. It'll just look very different.
You mentioned about how social media is changing things. Do you think social media is changing the way that both chefs and restaurants interact with guests
I mean, to a certain extent, yeah. I mean,
or connect?
it'd be crazy not to look at that. You have everybody now taking photos of everything. I think it's smart as a business person to make the guests want to take photos of things. Like if you have these lovely cups with your logo, you want the guests to take photos of that, put it on social media. Even if, again, it's like, oh, I don't care about that. I care about how good my coffee is. We do care about that because it's going to bring
Of
people
course we
in.
do.
So there is an aspect of that that's important to think about. And the same for us. We want our dining room to look beautiful. I have my logo on the butter when you get it because that's cute. And maybe a guest will take a photo of that and that's helpful. So we have to think about all of those things. Are they the most important things? No, but they still play their part, right?
Because interestingly, when I think of Michelin level food, yeah, loads of people are taking photos of food today. That's what a lot of us do. But Michelin starred level food was always photogenic food, wasn't it? So that's nothing
It's
new, actually.
always
So
beautiful,
basically,
but-
every dish you wanted to put out, you
Yeah.
want it to be beautiful,
Yeah.
irrelevant of social media.
It's just more and more there now. I mean, there's all these different platforms with Twitter and everything. I mean, you see, and also chefs are so excited when they have a new dish. Like, oh, I want to share that with people because you're proud of it. And it's just now it's very in your face information, right? And you see what every restaurant's doing. You know what's on their menu. And
I did come across an article about a Parisian Michelin-starred chef who recently admitted to using AI to create food pairings. Did you hear about that?
no,
What's your thought on that?
AI to create food pairings. I mean, I'm sure AI could recommend some pairings. There's tons of books out there on, food pairings and stuff. So I don't understand fully how AI works. From what I think, it gathers information from everywhere. So I'm sure if I said to my AI what's going to go well with tomato or whatever, it could suggest it. Yeah.
So essentially, there's not really much difference between going into AI, you're selecting some ingredients and saying, tell me what works well with this. You don't see that any different as reading 10 books.
No, and I don't think it matters either because if I give you a sardine, some basil, and whatever, a handful of ingredients, and then you give me the same ingredients, I would guess they're going to be quite a different result. You know what I mean? So we can read all we want, but when the ingredients are in your hands or my hands, there's going to be a very different result because of my know-how and my experience and the amount of time I've spent thinking about.
Give me sardines and some basil. I'm going to give you sardine with a bit of basil. in it.
Exactly. So people can use AI as much as they want and everything, but it doesn't have that, 20 plus years of thinking about food, dreaming about food, tasting it, feeling it. It's that's going to make the difference of those ingredients, not AI recommendations.
What's your guilty pleasure food? You've got to have one.
A lot. It's weird. I think growing up, I loved junk food and I still do.
Yeah.
I don't allow myself to eat it much. I mean, I would love to eat pizza all the time, but I probably let myself eat it once every couple months.
Yeah.
I love fried chicken. I love a bacon cheeseburger. I love all these things. But especially as I get older, I'm very, try to be conscious of my health and be relatively healthy. And I can find satisfaction in well-cooked food that I cook myself that's healthier. But yeah, all that shit like everyone loves.
Junk
Yeah.
is great.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's
and I love
I think you get almost like a rush off it.
yeah. Well, actually, I say that, but then after I eat a whole pizza to myself, I feel pretty horrible.
Maybe not eat the whole thing.
Yeah. That's impossible. But yeah, I love like all the same stuff everyone loves that you probably shouldn't eat all the time. But I think in moderation and once in a while, I'll have a cheeseburger, once in a while, I'll have a pizza. It's fine.
Fried chicken. I'd love to try some Alex Dilling fried chicken.
You will be able to soon. We're actually launching at our bar a fried chicken sandwich.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which I think will be really cool. We have this little bar when you enter the restaurant that we don't really do anything with at the moment. And obviously we're in a hotel. So we're going to do like 5 of these fried chicken sandwiches. It's one of my favorite things, like fried chicken sandwich. 5 of them we'll prepare a day. And any guests that come, consider the bar, have a beautiful glass of wine and a fried chicken sandwich.
Amazing.
I will let you know.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
What's your current favorite dish on your menu?
Current favorite dish. Probably our caviar course at the moment. It's just with like these red prawns served raw. I love raw things. With a consomme made from the shells, some sweet corn that's still crunchy. It's served at the table with caviar. And it's just like a really fresh, light, kind of low in dairy, just clean dish. And again, like talking about the dairy earlier, I think more and more I'm gravitating towards these kind of things that are just feel more clean when you eat them. I'm liking that style of eating more and more.
And what is it that attracts you to raw ingredients? Is it the fact that it still keeps its original flavor?
Yeah, and there's like a freshness to that. And normally if it's raw, it's served cold, which I love, especially probably this time of year. But then again, if you asked me in winter, what's my favorite thing on the menu? It's going to be something super heavy because I've just come outside from the cold. And I mean, it just depends. It even depends the mood you're in, right?
Can you give us one piece of cooking advice for home chefs who want to take it up a level?
I think the first thing would be clean as you go.
I
watch so many people.
Which camera am I going to look at? Rafa?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? So clean as you go, right? I still, to this very day at home, learned that with you.
Yeah.
And I repeat it because of you. And as someone in particular at home who I repeat that to, Rafa.
And seasoning, don't be scared of salt. Like, put some in at the beginning, put some during cooking, finish with some salt. Like, it's important to make your food taste good. There's a reason people love eating out in restaurants because there's a chef there adding salt to stuff and pepper. So, I've watched loads of people who don't put any salt in their food and it's bland, learn to season. Yeah.
I think I've gone up a level because
Yeah.
I clean as I go.
Yeah.
And I use salt.
There you go.
But hey.
Yeah.
If you weren't a chef, what would you be doing today?
I've recently got a camera and I want to get into photography. I love, I always admire the photographers I've known over the years who've taken photos of my food. And I've loved that they can, sometimes it looks even more beautiful than it does in person. And I've loved that kind of whole aspect of our craft. So I've got this camera. I can't fucking figure out how to use it. It's very complicated. Apple needs to come out with a camera, but I'm gonna ask some friends and stuff and see.
You do know Apple has a camera, right?
I know on your phone. Yeah. Which apparently is just as good. So I don't know why I've got this damn thing.
In fact, this right now is being filmed on iPhones.
But and I think it would be good for me to have a hobby outside of cooking. So we'll see if I get into this camera thing. I think that'd be cool.
Would you ever pick music back up?
I think I will. I was funny because the other day I was looking at guitars on the internet, like buying an acoustic guitar again. But I think like more and more, I think I need to like get a hobby outside of cooking because it can become quite consuming. And just cooking at home or reading cookbooks at home, you're not really switching off, right? So
what guitars were you looking at? I reckon you'd get yourself a Guild. Do you remember? Who was it that used to have a beautiful Guild? One of our friends. Do you remember?
I don't know. Would it have been
Dan?
Rohan or something? Dan, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember which types I was like. They're all beautiful though, right? And just the idea of sitting on the couch playing guitar again sounds great. And I'm sure you could pick it up pretty quickly. So yeah, maybe photography, playing guitar. Yeah. Bongo.
What's the last meal that truly blew your mind cooked by someone else?
Like a home cooked meal or a restaurant?
Doesn't matter. Something that really blew you away.
It's tough because I eat really well all the time, unfortunately. I'm very selective on where I eat. I can't remember specifically, but I've been going to Thailand a lot, and there's been some things I've eaten there which just like baffle me on how fragrant and delicious and I think because it's so like out, it's so foreign to me. It's so different from how I cook. Um, yeah, I would just say Thai food in general for me at the moment. When I go out there and I eat things, whether it's street food or whatever, how just incredibly fragrant and vibrant and also feels healthy.
And a lot of fresh ingredients.
Yeah, and like, you go over there to lemongrass. It's like you feel like you've never had lemongrass before because it tastes so incredible over
I
there.
wouldn't know. I've not been
Yeah,
there,
it's
so-
really special. And I love that, I don't ever try to cook that type of food. And so when I do eat it, it's mind blowing to me. It's lovely. And I don't want to ever try to cook it. I want to keep it as a special gift, like and not ruin it by bastardizing it at home. So yeah, that's been really wonderful for me. It's fucking spicy, but besides that,
I can't handle hot food.
I can't either. But they ask you everywhere, which is nice. They ask you like, they obviously see that you're a Westerner. So they ask you if you want it less spicy. And
Okay, so are there any cuisines you'd like to explore more?
I think I would love to explore like real Chinese food. I don't think I've had the real authentic stuff or like Szechuan food and just kind of, my experience with Chinese food has been eating in Chinatown and whatever city I'm in. So I think that whole cuisine would be fascinating to get into. I think I'd find some of it challenging. I mean, they're a lot more into their textures and things like that, but that's definitely a cuisine I don't know enough about that I want to learn more about and try.
Right, and here's a great question for you. So the world is about to end, right? End of the world's coming. We know it's coming, but we've got just enough time to have any meal we want, the last meal we can have. What would you have?
I think I would start with some street tacos in Mexico City.
Nice.
With a cold beer. Then I'd have my mom make me a roast chicken with mashed potatoes and a green salad.
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot of dessert. I'd probably have a big plate of cheese with a glass of red wine, some beautiful French cheeses, and then maybe some vanilla ice cream. And I think I'd go happily like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'd be full.
I was just thinking I'd probably try and find Francis Mulman to cook me a meal.
That would
So
be
I've
cool.
never eaten in any of his restaurants.
I haven't either. I'm dying to.
And I'm like, he's just someone who I'm like,
oh yeah, he's a legend. Yeah. And you can see he cooks from the heart. So people that cook like that, it's going to be delicious.
That would be my last meal.
Nice. I'll join you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool. Alex, Dilling, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
If you like this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel.